This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so today what we are going to cover, I will just give you the summary. These are the areas which we are going to cover. And today is a bit longer session because we are going to also have a case study that will be presented by our executive committee team of MECA CFO. They will be presenting it in the form of a role play. I will give you further details shortly. So these are the areas which we are going to cover. We will start with the innovation because the innovation is the driving force of any organizational transformation. If we are planning to transform our organization, either within the finance function or at the overall organizational level, we have to first see our innovation profile, how innovative our profile is. So I will talk a little bit about the innovation. Then we will consider our finance operating model, a standard finance operating model, how it looks like it's most of the organization and how we can start transforming it. Then of course we cannot do digital transformation in the finance by confining within only the finance function, because we have to integrate it with the entire organization, because the finance function is in a position to have insight on each and every business unit of the organization. They have a holistic view of the entire organization, and they understand, even the finance leaders, CFOs or the finance directors, they know how to unlock the opportunities for the entire business by leveraging different digital or emerging technologies available. So obviously it is very important for us, being a finance professional, to understand the business model and which business we are operating in, and how our finance digital transformation can support or can create value for the entire business. It's not only about the finance, because if you can just achieve doing the transformation within the finance to accomplish only some sort of process efficiencies, of course that will be somehow beneficial for your only function, but we have to think big. We have to see the big picture, how our finance function, being a finance business partner or strategic advisor, can support the entire organization in this transformation journey. So this we will discuss. I will give you a little bit background of business model canvas and business operating model that is used to operate any business. And then the core issue, why company is going digital and what are its digital aspirations, like what are the purpose, what are the goals, what are the digital aspiration. It could vary significantly from one organization to other. Then we will discuss major pillars of transformation and how do we start from people, process, technology. And then I will give the session to our team, and I will give their introduction as well. And then I will hand over the session and give the presentation and controls to them. So they will be playing for you the real life case study of the finance digital transformation based on their own experience and based on their research work that they have already done it. And I hope you will find it quite useful, because they are going to give you real life and live examples and from the company, the practical issues and challenges that finance functions face, and especially during this time of COVID-19 pandemic, because as we all know, the digital transformation was on the agenda of many CFOs and CEOs for the last couple of years. But due to this outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic, of course, the digital, most of the companies are considering investment in the digital technology and creating the digital platform, because to meet the needs of the customer, because of certain precautionary and preventive and protective measures being taken by different government to contain the suppress this COVID-19 virus. So that's why now the digital transformation has gained more importance, and it is more important now, and it's on the mainstream, and it's on the top priority for most of the organization to not only thrive, but also they, for their survival, even for in some industries that we are going to discuss further. So we have a longer session today, so without wasting time, just let me quickly jump to the topics, and I will take 15 to 20 minutes of time to cover this area. Then I will give the controls to our team, so they will be playing the case study role play. Okay, so it is very important for us to understand what is innovation, because innovation is the driving force of transformation. Is it either a finance transformation or digital finance transformation, or even in the finance level, or it is at the organizational level? So I will share with you some of the definitions from different aspects. of innovation, and let's read it. What is innovation? So innovation is the creation and capture of new values in new ways through new offerings, experience, technologies, channels, or business model across the extended enterprise, including customers, channels, suppliers, and partners. So from this definition, it is very clear that innovation is not only about the technology, it's also about offering the experience, the customer experience, the channels, the business channels that you are using, the innovation of the business model. If we just consider example of new business model that emerged during last couple of years, for example, Uber or Careem or Airbnb, they did not only use the technology, they had a very innovative business model. They built the ecosystem, and then they will be able to thrive in their business and their industry, and they disrupted taxi industry and the hospitality industries in that way. Then this is the second definition from the talent enterprise. It's more focused on the human side. They tell innovation does not just sit with the CEO or CFO or R&D or innovation teams. Everyone has a role to play in the process. When we work with our client to assess their innovation readiness, our assessment looks at the different types of innovation mindsets that exist within the organization: disruptors, strategizers, activators, implementers, and influencers. If we are looking to innovate as a leader, being aware of your organization's innovation profile with regards to human capital is critical. So this is all about the innovation mindset. This is one of the main pillar of any transformation or innovation, that what is the innovation profile of your organization, whether you have innovators, whether you have strategizers, disruptors, activators, implementers in your organization. So to consider the implementation of any digital transformation project, first you have to also assess your organization's innovation profile. Then this is the third definition. This is also from different aspects. Innovation is far reaching and goes far beyond technology. Innovation is a process, not an event, and as such, it can be developed and mastered. Many organizations place emphasis on the front end of the innovation, where ideas are generated, but the true value is created on the back end, where those ideas are evolved into business concept, assumptions are continuously pressure tested, and eventually prototypes are brought to market. If organizations start putting more emphasis on the back end, they will experience tremendous progress on their innovation maturity. This is according to CA Partners, innovation firm. So what they mean to say here is, most of the organizations, if they're planning for finance transformation or digital transformation across the organization, we can see in many organizations, there's only the commitment is on the paper. They discuss lots of ideas, they discuss lots of innovation ideas, and they have lots of meetings, but they cannot, but it's all only on the paper. They cannot execute it, or they cannot implement it. Then of course it's of no use. So that's why the main focus of the organization should be on the back end, on pressure testing the ideas and evolving into pilot phase or pilot programs. Okay, there are some issues with the voice, I think. Okay, can you hear me now? Please confirm, because I can see some comments that you can't hear me. Yes, you can hear, right? Okay, this may be some technical issues. Okay, so these were the basic definitions which I was trying to explain you from different aspects of innovation. So how to embrace the innovation in your organization? These are some of the practical tips which you can use to implement or embrace innovation in your organization. So innovation should, first of all, innovation should not overly be dependent on the senior leaders, because most of the organization, the innovation is only confined to the top leadership or the top management, where they are only the decision maker, and there's more a top-down approach. So obviously it should not be only more depend upon on the senior leaders only. It should start from the bottom up as well. Then organizations must improve internal processes and corporate culture to foster innovation. Your innovation should be fostered, should be embedded within the corporate culture, because of course the culture plays a very significant role in any digital transformation or the transformation of or any innovation projects. Then the risk appetite. The risk appetite of an organization plays key role in innovation. Risk aversion and lack of risk analysis create hindrance. So how risk averse and what's the risk profile or risk appetite of your organization? This is also one of the most important consideration. Then interdepartmental collaboration, structures and hierarchies, like the collaboration between your finance function and non-finance business function. For example, if you are trying to accomplish or trying to implement digital transformation within your finance function, then it's all about the collaboration. You need a very good and strong collaborative and working relationship of different finance and business functions. Then support from the top leadership. Of course, it's not possible without the support from top leadership. Then testing and continuously pressure testing of various assumptions. As I mentioned previously, that you have to work on the back end of your innovation process. You should not only focus on the front end and discussing the ideas and just having a meetings on innovation and discussing and brainstorming. You have to start testing those ideas, and even you can start in the small phases. And the last and another point is innovative leaders are never okay with status quo, even when the business is doing well. So the if the leader is having innovative mindset, of course they will not be okay even with the status quo, with your procedures and with your norms which your organization is following. They should always try to improve the business, and that is only possible through the innovation. And the last point is innovation is not necessarily should be a groundbreaking. It is often a small enhancement and that can improve different aspects of business, right? So it's not necessarily to be a breakthrough, and you can achieve it in phases, as we will also show it during our case history shortly. So innovation these days is very important even for your finance organization, and being a finance leader or finance professional, you should also be innovative to support your organization, because we know that we are entering into a different type of work environment due to COVID-19 pandemic, and our work environment, our working methods are going to be quite different, and even the way we are going to serve our customers, our even internal customers or external customers, is going to be changed tremendously because of certain precautionary and uh, protective measures being taken by the government and the health authorities to combat and to suppress this coronavirus. So innovation is really very important these days, to embrace the innovation in organization, to be to succeed in the market and to even survive in the market. And of course it is the driving force of any digital transformation. So what is digital transformation? Digital transformation is the integration of digital technology in all areas of business, fundamentally changing how you operate and deliver value to customers. It's also a cultural change that requires organization to continually challenge the status quo, experiment, and get comfortable with failure. So digital transformation, as you can see, it's the integration of digital technology, means one department or one function. If you are talking about the finance digital transformation, it should not be only confined to the finance function. We have to see who are the stakeholders, who are the customers of the finance function, who are the stakeholders we are serving. So it is all the integration of the digital technology into all areas of business, not only finance, operating or operations, marketing, sales, HR. There should be some strategic alignment to achieve the overall goals and mission of the organization. And I will share with you in the next slide some of the stories of digital transformation failures within the very large group of companies, and we can learn a lot from them because of certain failures, certain steps that they did not take while implementing the transformation projects. So it is also a cultural change that requires organization, because of course, as I mentioned earlier, in the innovation, the change of culture, the cultural change is a very important step, and it plays a significant role. It could be a very large, it can be one of the bottleneck in your implementation or digital transformation project. Okay, so these are some of the trends in digital transformation I will quickly cover with you. Deloitte, according to it, 8% of the companies believe that building a workforce for the future is important, but 11% of the organizations believe that they know how to build one because of the lack of awareness or because the workforce was not ready, right? In the future, according to another company, in future, 9 out of 10 jobs in Europe will require digital skills. Today, 44% of the European lack basic digital skills. And according to Gartner, recruiting people with the right skills may be difficult. The demand for digital talent far outstrips supply. By 2020, 1 in 3 technology jobs will be unfilled. And see how true it is today. Gartner, they already predicted, these all predictions and trends were before the outbreak of this COVID-19 pandemic, but how true it is that they already predicted that by 2020, 1 in 3 technology jobs will be unfilled. Because as you know now, due to the outbreak of COVID-19, most of the companies will be using digital platform and investing in digital technologies. Even I was just reading one report that many top tech giants like Amazon, Facebook, and Google, they have started large scale recruitment, during this stage. If you can see, if you can read the reports on Business Insider, you will come to know they are doing the recruitment at such a large scale because there is going to be a high level of demand for the digital talent because of this COVID-19. And of course, many of us are not ready. We are not digitally equipped, or we don't know how to implement the digital transformation, or we don't know about the digital technology. So we were not ready because we can't even imagine that in such a short period of time the world will be changed in such a short period of time due to this COVID-19 situation. So of course there will be some shortfalls in the upcoming months in the digital talent. Every business is a digital business. According to Google, it isn't only the new economy business. It must focus on the integration of digital technology, of course. Even now, due to current situation, every business should focus on the digital technologies. Then 63% of the leaders see changing company culture as a barrier, as I have already discussed with you this point. Okay, so why digital transformation projects fail? This is very important, and I will try to share with you some of the examples. So almost according to recent survey, 70% of digital transformation project fails because when they hit the roadblocks and fail. And we can take the example from the GE, General Electric, although later they obviously adjusted and they reinitiated their projects. But initially there were a massive failures in these organizations. They wasted huge amount of money. And what was the reason? GE created a new digital business, but was focused on the size instead of quality. What they did, they focused on the size, on the magnitude. They were not focusing on the quality, because of course, General Electric is a very large multinational organization, and obviously they have the resources, so they try to implement everything at the same time, and like it was like it burst out later on. They implemented digital transformation at such a large scale. They focus on the quantity and they not focus on the quality. So as I mentioned before, in the innovation part, it not necessarily should be the breakthrough. It could be in the phases. You can start from one phase, you can start from one department in collaboration with other department, then you can go step by step. You can pressure test, you can do pilot phase program. So it should not be immediately you implement the transformation at such a large scale. That could be a big failure, as in the case of General Electric. Then the second failure was in the Ford. Ford started a new digital service that was separate from the rest of the company instead of integrating digital solutions. This is the best, I think, example or lesson that we can learn is the lack of integration. Like they started to implement digital solutions and digital technology in certain functions, and they did not collaborate or integrate with the other functions within the organization. So of course it was a failure if there is no collaboration, no integration. So this examples I also try to give for the finance function. If you are only implementing, if you are only considering the implementation of digital transformation in the finance function, of course it could be a failure, because you have to meet the needs of the entire business function of the entire organization, how you can support in achieving the vision and mission of the organization. So there should be a strategic alignment with the non-finance business function if you're trying to implement this project. Then last example is from Procter and Gamble. They also failed initially in their digital transformation project because they did not consider the competition or impending economic crash. They were started to do their transformation during the last financial crisis. And I think we can take this best example as of now. Even if of course we know we are near to recession already, we have entered into economic recession because of the severe economic and financial implication of COVID-19 pandemic. So of course at this time you have to manage and you have to adjust your transformation projects accordingly. You should not implement your transformation project at such a large scale without, even because the competition will also be changed, because the consumer behaviors, the consumer ways of consuming things and taking services, because of certain measures like social distancing or travel bans, there will be of course very huge level or large scale change in the behaviors or in the market dynamics. So you have to consider all these consideration while doing the digital transformation as compared to before the outbreak of COVID-19. So you have to take all these consideration into the market. So we have the best example of Procter and Gamble. They did not consider that time the competition and the impending economic crash, and of course their digital transformation project failed. Okay, so this is the finance operating model that we going to discuss, and of course we will discuss further in the case study. So this is the like standard finance operating model that focus on the three main dimensions, or you can say the facets, that starts from the strategic finance, external finance, and functional finance. So functional finance, you can see it deals with the day-to-day operations, supporting the operations of the company, including treasury, accounting, your traditional bookkeeping work. Then external finance, it focuses on the reporting side, SEC reporting, your regulatory and compliance, your tax filing, investor relations. This all deals with external finance. Then we have the strategic finance that supports the strategic side of the business in their strategic decision making process, like M&As, forecasting, and strategic planning process, enterprise performance. So you have to see, this is your finance operating model. Of course, in any organization, this should be the standard finance operating model. So you have to see how, from where you have to start the transformation, from which phase it, because most of the organization, they do some mistake, like they start to transform their functional finance, and the outcomes and the benefits that they're trying to achieve, they are expecting to align with the transformation of strategic finance. No, if you are trying to transform your functional finance, you cannot expect the outcomes or results that are aligned with the strategic finance. So there will be some sort of misalignment. So first you have to decide which facet, which dimension you should start with. For example, in the functional finance, you can use various technology. For example, robotic process automation, RPA. You can use it to automate AR process or AP process. We will discuss further in the case study today. And then in the external finance, you can use reporting tools, various visualization tools available if it meets the statutory and regulatory compliance. Or in the strategic finance, you can use, for example, analytics. For example, predictive analytics you can use for forecasting purpose. So we are going to discuss in the case history in much detail with using the live examples that will be presented by our team members. So this is a basic operating model that you should understand. And of course, there will be certain areas which will still remain, for example, compliance and statutory reporting. Of course, even if you transform the even if you will transform your finance function digitally, these function will, of course, will still remain, because there is a stakeholders and internal customer for each of these facets. Like functional finance, there are operational staff, your operational or business partners, or business, they are the users of this area. Then in the external finance, the investors or the banks or financial institution, they are the stakeholders or users, or the your internal customers, right, and stakeholders. Then in the strategic finance, of course, your higher management team, your team who is responsible for the strategic decision making process, they are the stakeholders or the internal customers for you. So you have to consider each of these areas or each of these dimension, and to think about from where you should start the digital transformation and what are your objectives. We will discuss now. So, of course, as I mentioned, it is very important for you being the finance professional to understand the business, to understand the business. The best way is to use the business model canvas. So you will understand, okay, what are your business objectives, or who are the what are the channels, what customer you are which customer segment you are serving, what is the value proposition, who are your key partners, who are the stakeholders. So it is very important to understand your business and how your finance function can support your business in their transformation or can add value to their business. Then this is the business operating model. I will not discuss in much detail, just to give you an idea, because the operating model is the one which is used to implement the strategy. So of course, being the finance function or being a finance business partner, you have to support your organization in implementation of strategy. So you can use this model to support them. And you, as you can see, the basic capabilities include people, process, technology side, which are also the major pillar of any transformation. So you have to take into consideration all these factors: the structure of your organization, the governance structure, your ways of working, and what is the how you can execute, how you can mitigate the risks, and how you can deliver the value to the customers and different stakeholders. So this model, you can use it. So the core issue why company is going digital and what are digital inspiration, because the digital transformation project, it could vary significantly from one organization to another. Some organizations maybe are trying to just make their processes more efficient just through the process reengineering at a very low scale, whereas other organizations are completely reimagining their future. They're trying to completely reimagine the future or completely re-innovate or innovate their business models using digital transformation. So, and the efficiency seekers, of course, are the one who would try to doing business faster and smarter. Then modernizer are those who are creating new capabilities and modernizing the business. This is the area that we will focus on more today in our case study as well, because you have to make sure while doing a digital transformation that you are equipped, that your organization is equipped with creating new capabilities and modernizing the business. Okay, so this is the second digital aspiration, and we will be focusing more on it, creating new capabilities and modernizing the business, equipping it with the digital tools, digital toolkit that we will be discussing it. Then this is the third one, redefiners, changing and redefining the business at its core. As I mentioned, some organization, they're trying to come focus on high level of innovation. They're trying to innovate their business model by changing and redefining their core business activities, and they're trying to enter into, for example, new markets or new customer segments, right, as according to the business model. Then at the highest level, these are the industry explorers who are breaking ground in the new markets, and they are trying to, for example, adopting a blue ocean strategy and trying to enter into new industries or new markets. So these could be the different digital aspirations. So before starting your digital transformation journey or digital transformation project, you have to understand what is your digital aspiration of your organization overall. Either they are efficiency seeker, either they want to be a modernizer by creating new capabilities and for the business to deal or to navigate through the challenges. For example, during the COVID-19, if you want to enable your organization to digitally connect with all the employees or all the stakeholders, of course you can be a modernizer. Then redefiners and industry explorer means who are trying to enter into new business. For example, if because of this current situation you want to enter into new business models, or for example you want to create digital platform, then you could be a redefiner industry explorer. But our focus will be on the modernizer. Even in my current organization, we have also implemented digital transformation project few days, almost 2 years back, and we our focus was also on the modernizer. We just create new capabilities, and we equipped our finance function with all the digital tools and techniques for implementation. For example, cloud ERP system based on Oracle. We implemented EPM, enterprise performance management, and our focus was also on to how our finance function can support the business, because we are actually a federal government entity. So our requirements are more with for example with the ministries of finance and with the prime minister office. So we have to integrate our business, our financial and business planning according to their operational and strategic plan. So accordingly, which business you are in, which business or which industry you are in, you have to see what are your digital aspirations. Then accordingly, you have to start your transformation journey. So these are the major pillars that we will going to further discuss in our case study, which we are going to start shortly. These are the mindset, as I mentioned already. The innovative mindset of people is very important. Then the people itself is also part of the culture, then process, system, technology, and data. Of course, this is the more important pillar of any transformation. And where do we start? Companies have a productivity driven by their culture, values, and objective that will focus them on one key lever with which to start. Either you can lead with people, with processes, or with performance. Lead with people means there should be digital finance workforce. So of course, if you are transforming your finance function, there should be digital finance workforce. The same if your finance function is not tech savvy, if they don't have digital competence, then of course you have to upgrade their skills. Then only you can allow them and you can align their activities with your digital transformation projects. Then modern finance workplace means your finance function, as I mentioned, it should collaborate. There should not be some finance function working in silos, which is completely disconnected from business. You don't know what's going on in the business. So modern finance workplace should be the one which is which has more collaboration with non-finance business function, though they understand what are their needs, who are their stakeholders for the each of the different function and dimension, as I mentioned before in the finance operating model. So there should be the modern finance workplace. Then you have to lead with the process using obviously emerging technologies like automation or cloud ERP, configured ERP, then lead with performance that based on the service data insights and performance using, for example, predictive analytics or data analytics to support the organization's operational performance and strategic performance. So this was all the introduction from my side. I hope maybe there was some voice issue during the session, but I hope you have already got the idea. The screen was there. So now, without wasting further time, I will release my presentation controls and I will give it to our team. So just I will give some background. We have 4 members who are going to present this case study on the digital transformation. Uh, I will just first give them the controls. Omran, are you with us? Hello. Yeah, Umran, can you hear us? Yeah, Umran, can you hear me? Yes, Hardik, are you with us? Hello?
Yes, Vishnu.
Zeeshan, I hear you.
Yeah, I will give you the control, so you can just share your screen. Just give me a second. Okay, you can share your screen so audience can.
Can you see the presentation now?
Yeah, I can.
Zeeshan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, great. Thanks, Zeeshan, for the introduction. I will be presenting the finance function challenges and transformation, and me and Hardik Sawani and Hardik Disia and Ashit will be presenting also with me this presentation. Um, let's start with the because of the limitation of the time, I will be starting with the the COVID-19 effects and let's kick off with the COVID-19 break out and how it's affect the global economy and which enforces the business leaders to reevaluating their current situation and its implication, and it requires them to respond immediately to these dramatic changes by answering two questions actually. The first one is where we are now and where we might be heading. So the uncertainty keeps it very vague for the leaders and let them work in the very foggy environment. I will be mentioning a couple of charts to show how the COVID-19 affects the economy, and then I will turn to the business and how it affects the business and couple of I will also mention a couple of points of concerns that the company or the business should take it in consideration in order to survive, let's say, in this situation. Let's start with the COVID-19 map. Just a minute. I need to be sure, and everybody is hearing me now.
Yes, I can hear you, and I hope audience can also hear.
Okay, great.
Yes,
Okay, great. So this is the COVID-19 map. As you see, as we all see, the whole world is getting affected by this situation. And here's a couple of economic charts to show, and the one that is highlighted with the red that the market's going down in the GDP of the whole world, but hopefully it will get better in the Q4 of 2020 as well. Here's also a couple of charts to show the oil price going down and also government expenditure on the right side. And now it's very high because of the situation, and they are spending much more in the healthcare sector. Um, the third chart is the commodity and which impact on the commodity price, and we see that the oil and the energy is the highest commodity getting affected by this, and the metal and the agriculture is the least one as well. Let's go with the challenges of the business itself in the situation, and I tried to mm, categorize it in four areas: the customer and the revenue challenges, and the operational and supply chain challenges, workforce challenges, and the strategy business model challenges. Let's start with the customer and revenue. The companies are facing a lot of problems to survive with their revenue and keep their customers uh, and keep their customer actually alive. So we see a lot of companies revenue reduce, or some of them disrupted in their business, and they lost a lot of customers. So for the business to survive in similar situation, they have to adapt and update their sales and demand planning strategy to know exactly what is the trends and where we are going and what is the customer preference, which is the next point to assess their customer behavior. And as we see a lot of people change their behavior from going to the hypermarkets, for example, to the new business model of delivering to their homes. So the company need to adapt itself and prepare itself to similar transformation. The third point is to update the customer communication plan and loyalty. The new way of doing this communication is by social media. So the normal or the traditional way of doing the marketing and marketing campaign in the hypermarket, for example, on the mall, we don't see it now. So they need to also to quickly respond to these changes. The third point is to evaluating the competitive position in the market, where we are now in the market, in order to keep our revenue in good situation, or at least to move forward to increase our revenue, where we are in the market, and who is our competitor in the market, and whether do we have the capability to compete with them in the market. So the strategy need to be put. In terms of the revenue, so the company need also to assess the collectability of their cash and provisions, as mentioned, or as the IFRS 15, the revenue recognition, the new standard mentions new rules actually for calculating the provision. So the company as well need to face this type of challenges that might affect their financial statement and turns their revenue from profit to loss because of high provisions. Okay. Also, the company to change their credit terms and condition also for the sake of keeping the revenue in good position. Moving to the next point, the operation and supply chain. The challenges mainly for the operation and supply chains is the trends and the exposure that they have in the business and the restriction for the supply chain. A lot of business, the retailer mainly, for example, they lock down and they close their shops and they have a lot of problem in their logistics and losing the customers again and again. So they have problem with their operation. So the company to take care of a couple of points similar to assess the relation with the key suppliers and alternatives. If the company lose suppliers, let's say in China or anywhere in the world, they have to search for the alternative of their supplier, not to disrupt their business. The companies also need to monitor their exposure and trends and restrictions. We're talking about restrictions. It's about the laws and regulation restrictions, similar to what we are seeing now, which is the whole street is locked down, so the logistic will be a little bit different. The timing of the logistic will be also different. The third point is to perform operational risk assessment, which affect the whole organization, and these assessments need to be presented to the finance people. Actually, why finance people? Because this risk assessment is a qualitative. I mean, to make it quantitative and on a way to show to adapt or to customize our financial report and show to the management and the board of directors of the companies what is going on, so they can also customize their work based on that. Finance, the third point, the fourth point, the finance and other department restructuring. When talking about sorry, restructuring, not restricting actually. So when doing restructuring in the finance department, in this time, it's not about firing people. It's about to focusing more on the most important thing in the business that keeps the business moving on. Mainly, the finance department need to be on the spot because they need to collect the data and do the statements and the financial position of the company. The last point in this section is the scenario analysis. Actually, Mr. Robert mentioned a lot of things about scenario analysis, about the regression, correlations, and I think if we can increase our statistical skills, it will help also to figure out the drivers of the economy or the business and the situation. When talking about cost optimization, it is not about cutting costs by firing people again. It's about to see how to reallocate the resources to best benefit the company and the situation. They need properly utilizing our resources. So jumping to the next point, which is the concern of the whole most of the people now, the workforces, and as we see, a lot of people terminated from their work. But there is a couple of challenges for the company to identify the critical workforce and its capabilities. To identify the critical workforce and its capabilities. The second point is to revisit the workforce strategy and cost optimization plan. Couple of companies, they think in short terms and the others think in the long term. The business that the business with a short term view, actually they start firing and terminating people directly, but the cost for them to rehire them again after the pandemic goes away it will be very high. For the long term uh, companies and business, they keep those people in the work and they give them, for example, unpaid leave. then they return it back. So they will save the time to adapt with the business, understanding the business, and go ahead with the work. So the company should manage and be in balance between these two approaches. Remote work infrastructure. It's one of the most common example is the banking. The banking sector now, especially the back office, is working from home. Without these high secured infrastructure of communication, our financial data will be in dark situation. So the company should prepare itself, and they need to invest if they need to be in the market. Keep eyes on the changes in labor laws and regulation. Nobody knows, maybe a lot of, maybe couple of laws will released about minimum wages or minimum discount or the unpaid leave for the company. So in order to avoid being in an incompliant situation with the laws and regulation, the company should also focus on put an eye on this sector. Jumping to the strategy and business model. Even before the situation, the company should revisit and review their strategy on a regular basis to see if they can change it to adapt with the new situation. So what's happening in this pandemic, a couple of business model disrupted and they cannot work in this situation. So couple of points also that need the company need to focus on is how to assess the current strategy and business model to activate the business continuity plan. And this is part of the internal audit and risk management team. They should ensure the business is continuing in all perspective. Or one of the examples for this is the hot and cold spot for from the IT perspective, and the remote work from home as well. The third point is to evaluate the going concern consideration. Um, this point is mainly focusing from the accounting perspective, from the finance perspective. They need to be discussed with them to see exactly the estimation of the cash flow of the company, how the cash will be managed, to which level the company will survive with the current cash flow, and the scarcity of the cash flow as well. The fourth point is scenario analysis and alternative business model. If the company have the capability and the ability to transfer or to customize their business model to another level, they can survive as well. The scenario analysis should be heavily used in similar situation to figure out the worst case scenario and the most probable one and the optimistic case scenario. All these all this cannot be done by one person or one department. It's recommended for the companies to set a crisis committee to discuss the whole strategies and how the business should be shaped in order to know the all perspective. When we put HR with the marketing, with the finance people, you will have the full perspective of the work. Jumping deeper into the financial sector and the finance and accounting department, when talking about transformation, we are looking to the old or the existing finance and accounting structure, which focus on the finance director, finance controller, regional financial manager, and the accounting team. The role of the finance department is finance director is just reporting and controlling on different high levels of the organization, and they don't focus on the predictive data. They focus on the historical data. The regional finance manager just finalizing, closing the period, and watching the compliance with the laws and regulation, and the back office also doing the normal accounting treatment. This structure itself does not support the partnering with other departments. It does not support the process of transformation and digital transformation. So we need to level these up. Actually, this will be mentioned with my colleague actually. Uh, Deeper actually, other the challenges that face the finance functions, that we as a finance people thought as a cost center. people look at us as a cost center. Now, just this is correct actually, because the old system or the current structure does not support to be in situation to add and generate revenue for the company. But there is a trick we can do it by partnering with other departments, such, for example, the sales and marketing. We can help them and partner with them or take part of their analysis of the market, and we can also be part of this revenue center. So we support other revenue center. We focus on cutting costs. Um, That's also correct because we currently, the finance people currently, let's say for example, when they do partnering with the marketing and sales people, they focus mainly on the cost of sales, and gross profit matrix. So they don't focus on how to increase the profit, to open new market, to analyze different geographical area or product line analysis. So by doing this, by leveling up the finance department, we can also partner with other departments and increase the revenue as well. Historical report and limited analytical tools, in addition to the lack of strategy and mindset and partnering with relation with other departments, this will be covered by my colleague Hardik. The complication and lack of accuracy. This is normal if we present our data as a finance people to non-finance people, they will think it is very complicated. But from our perspective, it is not that much complicated. In general, this depends on the company, the business model of the company, the complexity of their operation, and how they manage the accounting treatment and the data they have. So the more skilled people they have, the less complication of this data. The other point is the lack of the accuracy. The more talented people again, and the high end accounting system used, it will reduce this accuracy. Sorry, it will increase the accuracy of the data. Late closing process. This is one of the most common problem of the companies. They keep the data open and they close it after the year end by 2 or 3 months. This will reduce the advantage of having the data because it's almost outdated. For me, I'm done with my presentation. I will be handling the mic to Hardik Disia. Hardik, do you hear me?
Yes, Omran. Thank you very much.
Let me.
Good evening, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Okay, so just I will give you some background toward the audience that Hardik Desai, he will be further explaining in detail the specific challenges that most of the organizations face, that even according to his own experience that he faced in the digital transformation. And after that, we have two more team members, Ashit and Hardik Soni, who will be covering the solution part. Like they will be offering the solutions based on their experience, like how they can digitally transform their function by addressing all the challenges. So this is just to give you some background of this case study. Okay, Hardik, over to you now.
Thank you, Jishan. Good evening, everyone. To start with my presentation, as my colleague Omran mentioned about different roles at different levels, I would like to put more ideas on the facets of finance and accounting. Omran, can you just go back to the previous slide where we have facets in finance?
Right. Hardik.
Can you just go back to the previous slide, the facets of finance? Okay, you don't have it? Anyway, it's okay. So just to complement Umran, I would like to just discuss a different level of hierarchy in finance function, like a senior accountant, what they usually call as a back office, and then the finance manager and the finance director. So all the day-to-day activity is mainly handled by senior accountant or back office people, where they do a general ledger, accounts payable or receivable, or cash management, revenue accounting. the main job of finance manager or finance controller is overlooking the finance function, and then internal and statutory audit compliance, forecasting, budgeting, the periodic reporting, and closing process, of course. And as Omran said, the finance director is mainly involved in the reporting to CEO, CO, or probably investors, and the optimal financials from the financing team. So that's the main facets of probably one side of the financial accounting people. Now move on. The second thing is COVID-19. So we all know the challenges which we are facing as a finance people in this pandemic situation. So what are the challenges? I would like to discuss that. And the first of all is remote working. Many of us are feeling probably like no better option to work from home or no, depending on the transformations available or in this company. I know personally many of my friends whose companies are not using the up-to-date accounting software and they're still into a traditional accounting. They probably don't have anything to do. They are just sitting at home and enjoying their day. So there might be, it's a good reason to stay at home and spending good family time. Umran, can you move the slide, please? Yeah, thank you. So here I would like to discuss more on the accounting challenges due to COVID-19. What are the reporting difficulties? What is the going concern issues? Financial evaluation, policies versus practicality. I mean, they all are in line with IFRS and IASB. So I'm going to discuss all these challenges with you now. The first one is reporting difficulties. Now, we all know that as a finance person, we have to disclose the events after the reporting period. Now, as per IAS stands, all these events which are affecting your requirements for when adjusting events or probably non-adjusting events, you have to mention in their accounting reporting. So when you do your audit, you have to have this after events reporting disclosure. Now, this is based on the judgment. Your judgment is required to determine whether the event took place at the reporting date. Is it adjusting event or non-adjusting event? Now your reporting date is different, correct? So mainly in Asia, probably like countries like India, they have a reporting of 31st March 2020. So this we consider as a reporting event. Now I personally do a closing as 31st December 2019 in my finance function, where I see this is a non-affecting events. So this is based on judgment and we have to report in the financials. If management concludes the impact of non-adjusting events are material, the company is required to disclose the nature of the event and the estimates of its financial effect. On the other side, if it cannot be reliably quantitative estimated, then they have to disclose in the financial, including a statement that it's not possible to estimate the effect. Now, the example of non-adjusting events that would generally be disclosed in the financial statement, as I mentioned earlier. And second challenge is a going concern issue. Now, we all know that it is really important as an auditor. If I wear a cap of auditor, it's really important to assess the companies whether there is a going concern issue or not. Now, if you all know your IFRS, I'm sure you must be like strong in IFRS. So as per IAS 1, the presentation of financial statement requires management to assess a company's ability to continue as a going concern. Now, the going concern assessment needs to be performed up to date on which the financial statements are issued. Now, if you think, okay, my closing period is 31st December 2019, and now your audited report is issuing April, or probably it will be issued probably next month or so, then the auditor will assess your going concern. The assessment related to the list at least first 12 months after the balance sheet date. So if there are any events occurs or liquidity issues or anything, then they will extend their audit requirements as per the going concern requirement. Now, material uncertainties that cast significant doubts on the company's ability to operate under going concern basis. Given the significant uncertainty due to COVID-19, disclosure should be include those significant assumptions and the judgment applied in making the assessment. Now, it depends on the auditor to auditor and companies to companies and their management judgment. Assumptions will likely need to include different scenarios with verifying assumptions, which can be updated to take into account for evolving nature of uncertainty, like your receivables, your payables, your inventories. They all has to be taken into place when doing a going concerns assessment. Third thing is a financial evaluation. Now, this is a major uh, challenge which I practically facing in my financials. Now, due to this COVID-19, well, we have started audit much before that, and now since we are in the middle of remote working, we all are stuck with this audit now. The major issue is now fair value of measurement. Uh, if you know your IFRS 13, you have to record everything as fair value. Now, the change in fair value measurement affects the disclosure required by IFRS 13, as I said. As per that IFRS 13, all companies required to disclose the valuation techniques. Now, since we are into a solar business, we have a huge amount of panels, transformers, and all other inventories in stock. Now, we have to do fair value of all this stock. And now, due to COVID, all these assumptions has changed. Here, the key question is what condition and corresponding assumptions were known or knowable to participate at the reporting date. We have to keep all these assumptions, as I said, like, the factors affecting your inventory, factors affecting your receivables, factors affecting your assets. You have to do a fair value of everything. For 2020 fair value measurement, a particularly financial instrument and investment property will need to be reviewed to ensure the values reflect the condition and balance sheet date. Now, this will involve measurement based on unobserved inputs, which will affect from a COVID-19 pandemic. Now, during the current environment, if I look at the other measurement of COVID-19, the entire market has globally affected economically and in anywhere, everywhere. Right. So coincidentally, special attention will be needed to a commodity price or oil price or any stock price that developing fair value conclusion. The next point is impairment. Now, when you do a fair value impairment, you also have to consider other IFRS, like your IAS 36 impairment of assets, IAS 16 for lease accounting, IFRS IAS 37 for provision. Your provision will change based on current situation. Your credit terms has changed. So the companies, like, our companies, they will assess whether the impact of COVID has potentially led into assess impairment. Since we are reporting to many financial institutions globally, we have to impair everything, like, all our liabilities, all our assets, and we have to report at fair value. We have to also consider the estimate of future cash flow and earnings, which significantly affect by direct or indirect impacts, correct? So the valuation of inventory is also important factor. So valuation of inventory calculation will likely require more detailed method and assumptions, like sale will going down, or in next quarter or quarter two we don't need X amount of materials. So again, as I said, it depends on period to period which you are reporting and auditor which assessment they are going to take place. The next point is policies versus practicality. Now, this is also important. So all the companies has policies and procedure in place. So one of the policies is credit terms. If you are offering 30 days credit terms to your suppliers, or if you're getting 60 days from a supplier and providing 30 days to your customer, now this is revised now. Based on current situation, we are 3 months delay getting payments from our customers, we personally. So on the other hand, we are also pushing our suppliers for 90 days or 120 days for the payments, correct? So that's entire change, and that's something out of box. So this your policy says something different, but what you are reacting is your practical situation, and based on your practical situation and practical exam. So this has to be keep in mind all the times. Now, as also Umran said about cost optimization. So we also have to think about how we can optimize our cost is how we are reallocating our resources. We should revisit our variable cost. We have to keep more focus on cash to cash conversion cycle. I would say we all have to think like a CFO across the organization. To give you an example, say for example, a supply chain manager who is thinking, who is just managing distribution and inventory shortages, correct? Generally, now if you ask them to manage the entire business cycle based on the current situation and take a participate in the working capital, now how would they affect your supply chain and inventory practice? So as I said, we all have to think about how we can place our cards well, and we can help our organization, we can help our companies to grow and stay healthy during this COVID-19 pandemic. The last point is social and economic responsibility. We all have a social and economic responsibilities. Like we know that companies are firing people, companies are shutting down, companies are unable to meet their cash flow requirements. So this is the time we have to protect our staff. We have to protect our people. We know that how strong financially our company is, how strong the organization is, and they can survive like 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months without affecting this COVID situation. So this is the time we have to act socially and economically towards our staff and towards our peers. The one thing I would like to also discuss about here is communication, correct? So communication effectively is a key thing here. Whether you are in finance department or whether you are in sales or any any department of organization, communication effectively and efficiently is going to be really key to maintaining your relationship with customer and suppliers. So we have to communicate clearly. We should not give false promises or false hope for payment or any other thing. The other thing is we have to change vision and mission of the company. We have to adjust our strategy as well. So due to this situation, the company has to think out of the box. They might have to revisit their strategy. They might have to revisit their investment plans. They also need to think more and manage, like expedite the process of focus on inventory management or consider alternate supply chain finance option. So they have to think separately in order to come out of this pandemic situation. But these are the basic challenges which I think we finance are facing or probably will face in near future. Now I would like to spend some time and give you an idea on the day-to-day challenges which finance function faces in absence of transformation. I know that many people, as I said earlier, that they are still using traditional accounting system. If you visit their office, you can see the big server rooms. Like they are still storing data on server, not on clouds. They're not allowed to carry on any electronic devices within the organization or out of the organization. No laptops provided. You have to work in the desktop, and when you go out, you just have to think. You have to forget everything. So I know that culture is still there in many organizations. So this is mainly them. Now the first challenge, we even to give you an right information, I came from the same organization. But 10 years back, I worked in a company in the real estate industry where I was facing the same issues. And When I started working, I was feeling like, wow, what I'm doing here, like, I mean, not allowed to take on any information. I have to work there. But in a way, it's a good. I'm not getting any phone calls after hours, so it's compensating one way or other. Anyway, just discussing about the challenges which we are facing in day-to-day life is first one is reporting. The first problem is like unavailability of the data and reporting in real time. Now, real-time analysis is really important for us in any business needs for predicting the growth under a specific set of condition and determining the suitable action strategy. Now, to act on any available data, you to act on any situation, you need data. So that is where the real-time data is come in the picture. As ACCA highlighted in understanding of investors, 70% of the investors say the companies reporting real time are better positioned to attract investment, and also they have more mature corporate governance. Now, we in the industries in the where we have so many inventories in place and due to unavailability of the real-time data, we are losing potential sales revenue. Now let me give you an example. If you have if you need to bid any tender and you don't know your cost of materials, then you will lose the tender. Correct. Now you can imagine that losing tender in current situation or current days, current scenario, that backwards organization in many days. The second thing is technology. We we probably in all the companies they are not using the same software. Every department they are using their own software. I believe that we are also using the same thing, so we are also having the same issue. So what is happening that we as a finance people is spending a lot of time to work as a bridge between the finance and other department. So operation needs some information, they are coming to finance. Sales need any information, they are coming to finance. If sales need any information related to operations, they also come into finance. So we are working as a bridge and providing most of the we are spending most of our time to just providing information which are not relevant to us. Now here that let's say most of the times we are doing just data entry and reconciliation to provide the data of the department. Now that takes a long time to compile data and reporting. Now if we do that whole day, that gives a very little time for participating in any training or upgrade our skill or just go to any seminars or any other skill related time. The third is data. Now the problem with data is very common. The less data is also harmful and more data is also harmful. And particularly we in finance, we like to gather as much data as we can so that we can compile a good report. Now the thing is the real challenge is to pick up the useful and important information, correct? So if we have a data, now the challenge is to pick out the important and useful information, sort them out and report to them. If we do not have time to do that and we provide incomplete and inaccurate information, that can lead our business in the wrong direction. Now, as per one survey, a normal employee spend about 40% of the time gathering data. Now imagine if we are spending most of our time to gathering data. Okay, we are getting data from operations, we are getting data from procurement, we are getting data from sales people. We are just gathering them. Now when we do reporting, are we doing effective reporting? Are we providing enough insightful information effectively? This is the question we need to ask ourselves. If answer is yes, good enough. If answer is no, then yes, we are doing something wrong. The fourth challenge is we also have a pressure to make financial reporting more efficiently and risk-free based reporting. Well, most of the organization is a cutthroat competition for all the companies at the moment, and the management wants better access to insight and uncover information so that they can make any business decision faster and better. Now, apart from that, we also have a shareholders who wants to know their ROIs. We also have stakeholders to know their KPIs. So as a result, what is happening? We have building a traditional reporting and primarily just to show this metrics instead of finding the actionable insight. Now, when you do reporting, we all do month-end closing. We already providing profit and loss, balance sheet, and the commentary. Now, this is the common reporting, correct? I mean, that's no rocket science in that. Anyone can do it. We don't need a company, don't need graduate people or probably skilled people to do profit and loss and balance sheet summary. Now, when we have to report, we have to report in a way that can give more inside information. Now, as I said, there are so many reporting requirements. There are statutory reporting requirements. The management wants something else. So we in finance, when we do reporting, we stuck. Our focus is to just fulfill those requirements. We just want to give what management wants to see. We are not able to provide the detailed inside information which can help them to make a business decision very faster way. We also have a reporting as I said, regulatory and compliance requirements. We have so many reporting once we finish one reporting and we are just going to the next reporting. It's like a constant update. We don't have time. We just doing one report, second report, third report, fourth report, and that's it. We don't go back and check what is actually needed. Is it right numbers? Is it right information? No. So it's like, I believe it's a lot to manage and easy to screw up. We have so many things to do. The last thing is the business partnering role. Now, this is really important. As I said, we do not provide inside information in absence of a transformation, because why? We don't have real-time data. We don't have any digital tool to take out all this information from the one click and provide to management. And that's the reason we are missing this business partnering role at the moment. So, as I said, we are doing the post-mortem approach, where it should be a preventive approach, correct? We in a finance, working separately from operational teams, we are unable to take any strategic and commercial approach. Most of times we fail to provide a root cause analysis because we just do not have time for it. As I said, we have so many reporting deadlines, we have so many other MIS to provide, so we do not go to a root cause analysis. Whatever happens. If we do not have time to go back and check why this is happening, what is the issue, what causes are there, and what should we do to prevent that. That's the most important thing. So we are spending our time in running from one task and applying quick fix to remove the problem before we rush into the next task. I believe we all do that, correct? If we are finding any problems, we are just fixing that for now. Let it just finish it now and we will see what will happen next time. So, I mean, I said, as saying goes, there's always time to do it again, but there is no time to do it for the first time. And why do we need all these things, correct? So we want to take our functions to a new level where we approach would be a more preventive and analytical. So we have to think out of box and to change our finance function to a business partnering role. And in this process, to fill the gap from traditional finance to a business partnering role, the companies also have to be equally responsible and work effectively together. And one of the thing is digitalization. So if looking at current situation, of course, I mean all the digitalization projects are on hold or probably is getting delayed. As Zeeshan also mentioned, Umran also mentioned. So if no, then of course the company should do a digitalization small step and then department employees, so that they're in the position to manage the business and achieve their mission and vision as mentioned. So I think I'm done here. Thank you very much, guys, and I will pass on to Ashit now.
Thank you very much, Hardik. I think you have already, explained some very common challenges which almost all finance functions face because of lack of business partnering. And of course, most of us are involved in the day-to-day traditional accounting task, and it is not possible for us to get rid of them and involve on the business partnering side. And the solution only is to implement or leverage the digital technologies, which
Correct.
Ashid and Hardik Soni are going to discuss now, and they are giving the solutions how we can overcome these challenges. So, Ashid, over to you now.
Yeah, can you
I will
make
make
me the
you the
presenter? I
presenter.
will take care of the. Yeah.
Yeah, just give me a second. I will release the controls and give to you. Okay.
So you can see the slide.
Yes, but it's not coming full, I think. You, yeah, now it's clear. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Jishan. Good evening, everyone. So my name is Arshit Sangvi. I'm a chartered accountant from India. I have 21 years of experience in different industries, and I have worked in different areas of business, right from strategic management, supply chain to managing budgeting and driving the cash flow of the company. You can visit my LinkedIn page to read various management topics, including on digital transformation. So coming straight to the topic, so my both the previous speaker nicely explained what are the challenges that currently the finance department is facing, like in terms of there is a pressure to reduce the cost, to automate the process, to increase the efficiency level. And now the management will expect more and more reports, that too in a timely manner, because every business is going through crisis due to coronavirus. And the situation is challenging in most of the businesses or industry. So what is the solution for this? How do finance come out of this challenge? So what finance can do in order to overcome the barriers which were just mentioned by my previous two speakers, right? So this is the solution which is presented on your screen, that we need to bring finance transformation in our departments. And the only way I see to bring the transformation is through digital transformation. Jishan nicely explained what is digital transformation. So what happens when a finance tries to bring the transformation in its department through digital transformation? I would like to discuss more on that aspect and what skills are needed in order to uh, achieve that aspect. So when you try to bring transformation, when you automate most of the process, when you implement certain digital tools, which we'll just discuss shortly, and when you bring all the data, whether it is financial or operational data, at one place, you analyze the data through various analytical tools which are available, which we'll discuss shortly, and you present the information to management in a timely way on a real-time basis. So what is going to happen is then finance will be in a position to focus on analyzing the information rather than spending time in collecting the information. So finance will be in a position to act as a business partner for other departments, and finance will be in a position to drive the strategy of the organization and then give the insight to the management at the right point of time. So this is what this slide is telling you all about, that when you try to do digital transformation, your reporting becomes on real-time basis. You have a proactive approach, so you can tell the management in advance that based on your forecast projection, and by using the digital tools, you can recommend certain things to the management. and you have access to the data, not only of finance data, even the operational data. And so you can be acting as a business partner, not for just senior management, but even for other functions. And that really helps to change the image of the finance department and bring the transformation. But in order to do all this, there are certain skill sets which I've written the second category that we need to develop. So what are the skills that we as a finance team members need to develop in order to bring this transformation in the finance department through digital transformation? So we will discuss that more about this. The major thing is that the finance department needs to understand its business very nicely. It needs to know what is the digital strategy of the organization, what are the threats and opportunities digitally which are available to your business or nature of industry. Then what are the various digital skills which are available in the market, and which one is relevant for your industry, and then implement those digital tools in your industry. And main thing is, what are the challenges that you will face when you try to implement any digital project? That is the most key important aspect that one needs to understand. So yes, there is a possibility to overcome all these challenges, but one needs to upgrade the skills in all these areas in order to come out of this crisis, right? So once you bring the transformation in your department, I'm talking particularly in context of finance department, what is going to happen is this is the transformation which you will see in your department. Finance is a custodian of data, and doing the analysis of data and giving insight to the management proactively or on real-time basis is the main value addition which finance can do. So when you try to bring digital transformation in finance department, what happens is you start from a state where you were reporting information through your through ERP system or the Excel in which the data was fed, and then you move to a stage where you are in a better position to report the data, more accuracy level is there, and then you move to a stage where you are doing the in-depth analysis of the data and giving some insight to the management, which enables them to take action now to overcome any obstacle which you foresee in future, which is in technical term known as predictive analysis. So you are in a position to recommend to the management that what steps they need to take now in order to avoid certain obstacles which you see going forward in future, right? So finance, so overall, if I have to say this in one single word, then it is finance department is transforming itself from a technical department or from a technical expert who is expert in maintaining the books of accounts and presenting a report, to a strategic partner who gives insight to the top management on what are the changes they need to do on the strategic front and various other areas of business. So Jishan already explained nicely that what is the benefit of digital transformation and why you should bring digital transformation in your organization. But I'm going to just touch base my point of view. What are the major points that one needs to have it? So major points are that digital transformation helps to automate the business, to increase the efficiency, to reduce the cost, optimize the revenue, increase your competitive edge, improve the reporting accuracy level, report on a timely basis, on a real-time basis, to do certain kind of analysis which gives recommendation to the management that what they need to do now in order to avoid certain obstacles in future, because you do forecasting more accurately with the help of digital tools. You need with the adoption of digital transformation, you can understand the customer in a better way, understand the customer's needs in a better way. You can use the digital tools to get engaged with customers and employees. And Jishan talked a lot about innovation. So digital tools really give you the opportunity to do digital, to do innovation, to enhance your learning curve. So there are a lot of benefits which can flow because of digital transformation. And here I would like to add that When we talk of digital transformation, it's not just in the finance department that you need to bring digital transformation. Digital transformation is always has to be done at the organization level. So it touch bases all areas of business, and that's why involvement of all the department is required in order to implement any digital projects. Right? So what is a major value addition for the finance department is on the analytical front. As I explained, that all the data, whether it's operational or financial, is available to the finance department, and the major value addition which finance department can do if things are automated and if they have got access to data and if they have the right digital tool to analyze the data. So they can do three kind of analysis. One is the descriptive analysis, which is what has happened in the past or what is happening right now, which the management needs to know. Second is predictive analysis, which is forecasting about future. If you remember the last session, if most of us might have attended, it was fully on how we can do forecasting in a better way with the help of AI, that is artificial intelligence. So management can get a better insight about the future with the help of these digital tools, which is the need of the hour, especially in crisis. And lastly, prescriptive analysis is what is the recommendation that finance department can give to the top management, what actions, what decisions they need to take now in order to overcome certain obstacles which have been foreseen in the prediction, which can be a big value addition which finance department can do. So this is the major impact that can happen on the finance department when they try to bring finance transformation in their department through digital transformation. Right. So if you can read the wordings, capacity created by automation and process efficiency will be reinvested in value addition tasks. So what I want to say is that many people have got this feeling or wrong understanding that more and more we digitalize the things, the employment opportunities will get reduced or people will be left out without work. But what I want to say through this line is that whatever surplus time is left or whatever task which you were doing when it is automated, then you need to enhance your skills and do better tasks by which you can add better value to the organization. So that's the thinking that we need to change. Right. So what is your digital strategy? Where do you stand? So we have already explained you the need for digital transformation. We already explained that how you can bring transformation in your finance department and how the finance department is going to get benefited when it tries to bring digital transformation. So what is your digital strategy? If anyone wants to have a parameter or wants to have a criteria that where do my business stand in terms of digital strategy and to what extent I need to digitalize my operations, then I think this is the parameter which you can use effectively. So what I've done is this is basically on x-axis you can take value chain, and on the y-axis you can take ecosystem, and most of the organization will fall into this any of this one category, which are the four quadrants. So let me explain to you what are these four quadrants. The first quadrant is of supplier. So what I mean is that you are supplying the goods to the customer who is a part of a big ecosystem, but you are just a supplier to that. So you don't have access to understanding of what is the customer's need and how it has been evolving and changing over a period of time. So you are just a part of a big value chain or a big supply chain, but you don't have that much operations which have been automated, and that's why you lack the access to the data which helps to understand the evolving and changing needs of the customer. Second category is omni-channel. The best example which I can give is of retail industry, where the retailer is in offline business, having a lot of stores and showroom, and now they have a provision. They have opened up a website through which you can explore the products which many of the retailers in Middle East have done, that just they have given one more option because of the competition, because they have felt the need of digitalization. They have opened up one channel of digitalization by which the customer can explore the product. So this is only a limited digitalization which your business is having. They are not a part of the major ecosystem or digital platform. The third category is modular producers. So what is this? Is businesses that provide plug and play products or services that can adopt to any number of ecosystem. So best example of this is PayPal, which is a payment gateway solution, and which provides this gateway solution to any ecosystem, any organization which are there on the digital platform like Amazon, Flipkart, and various other e-commerce companies. So because of their nature of business, they always need to ensure that they are updated in terms of products and services. They are always updated on the digital or technology front. So this is a category which is a part of the major ecosystem, major digital platform system, and because of its business model, it is forced to always keep itself updated on the digital front. Right, and the last is to create your own platform or ecosystem. Amazon is the best example of it. So entire supply chain, your entire business is running on this digital platform. So right from placing an inquiry for the product, understanding what are the various products or goods available, and then placing the order, and on the back end, the logistics partner is executing the delivery at right time and right place, and also you are asking your supplier to replenish the stock through this digital system. So what happens is, because you have this large digital platform, you are in a position to easily access data to understand that how many orders were placed today, how many customers came on my website and just inquired, what are the various products on which they did the inquiry, what is the sales today, how much deliveries are happening today, and how much further orders I gave to my supplier to replenish the stock, what is my stock in hand as on date. So this entire data you are in a position to access within a fraction of seconds or minutes, because you are running your entire business on a digital platform. So this is the ideal category to be in. Now, what you need to assess in your business is that depending on the nature of business and the threat and opportunities in your industry on the digital front, where do we stand? In which category your business stands, and what you need to move to move it to the next category. So I believe if you have heard my last presentation, I had also mentioned due to coronaviruses, most of the businesses have now a need to go digital, and digitalization is no more an option but need of the hour. And I have practically seen many small businesses who did most of their operations manually, and suddenly the country was locked down and they are suffering today because their operations cannot be automated. Their employees cannot work from home and execute the task because most of their operations are manual and not digitalized. So this is a live example to understand or to assess for your business that in which category you stand, and this is the best time to persuade the top management that why your operations need to be digitalized, why they need to invest in digitalization in order to have a competitive edge, in order to optimize the revenue, reduce the cost, and to raise the efficiency level, which is the need of the hour in this crisis. Right? Okay, so now we go to the most important slide of my session, I would say, that is challenges faced in digital transformation. So before I introduce to you the various digital kits or products which are available in the market, and you analyze which one is relevant for your business or industry, it's very important to understand that what are the challenges that you will face when you try to implement any digital project. The biggest proof, I think Zeeshan also presented some data on this, and I have also got some data on this, that there was a survey been done among the CFOs, and by McKinsey recently, and it was found that most of the CFOs believe that we need to be very aggressive on digital front because there is a pressure to optimize the cost. There is a pressure to give the reports on a timely basis. Hardik Desai also mentioned about the need and the pressure to give the reports, and that too in a timely manner. Certain businesses require reports on a real-time basis, like retail, where you have, let's say, a sale in your showroom and you need to know hour by hour that how the business is performing in terms of sales. So most of the CFOs had agreed that digitalization is a need of the hour, but only 13% of the CFOs and other business executive were really in a position to implement the digital projects, and only 5% have been successful. So that really shows that how challenging it is to implement any digital project. And so it's very important that you understand that what are these challenges, what are these various obstacles which you need to overcome in order to implement any digital project in your company successfully. Right, so let's discuss each of this. I think first point Zeeshan already mentioned, so I'm not elaborating. Lack of digital skill set. So if you don't have capabilities and skill set in your organization on understanding that what are the various digital products and which one is relevant for your business, then it's very difficult to understand that why it has happened. Second important reason, which is not mentioned here, but I would like to say based on my experience, is that every organization, right from the top management, needs to explain to the entire workforce that why we are implementing this digital project. I've seen many organizations where people just implement the digital project without taking into confidence the team at the ground level, without making the middle management understand that how we are going to benefit from this digital project. It could be the need of the hour due to competition. It could be that management wants to optimize the cost. It could be the management wants to increase the efficiency. Whatever is the reason, it should be clearly communicated by the top management to the middle management and down the line, so that people understand the significance of it and people know that this is one of the strategic goal which a company needs to achieve because it is coming directly from the top management. Right. Third point, which I think Zeeshan also mentioned, very important, technology is not a challenge, culture is. Any digital project cannot be implemented without the support of the people and people across the organization based in different departments. They are coming from different backgrounds, they have a different mindset. So culture of the organization plays a very important role when you try to implement a digital project. And I believe HR plays a very important role in making the people understand that why this particular project needs to be implemented, and also addressing the concern of loss of job or a change of profile or change in the working style. That's my next point, change in the workflow. So any digital project, when you implement, it requires the processes to be standardized, processes to be robust, and consistency in the processes. So obviously this is going to have an impact on the profiles of the people, the way they work, way they interact with the people. And so there's a resistance on change, what we call the change management. So that needs to be handled skillfully by using emotional intelligence. You can go through my article on emotional intelligence, which speaks a lot about how change management needs to be handled, which is a very critical thing here. Right, another people aspect, integration of humans and machines, the same point which I already mentioned, that a loss of job or insecurity about job is one of the major reason why digital projects are not being successful. So this is one of the area which needs to be seen or look into. It's very critical. Okay. Second is that when you plan or decide to implement any digital project, it should be on a, you might have about a lot of requirements on digital front and you need to implement a lot of digital products, but start with a pilot project, start with something small, learn from your mistakes when you finish the pilot project, and then you go to the next level. No need to implement everything today, or no need to automate the all operations today, because we are going through a change, and the change should be taken in phases. Many times I have also seen that when we announce a digital project, the pilot project goes very good, and then the momentum is lost to implement the subsequent phases. This is very important, that the top management gets involved in the digital projects and directly communicates with the people who are implementing it, so that they understand the importance of it and the momentum is maintained. This is very important. Now, apart from the human aspects which we just discussed, one other key thing or important thing is to understand is that quality of decisions should be driven based on data rather than based on gut feeling. So even the senior management needs to change their working style by taking a decision in light of the data analysis which has been done and based on what the recommendation is given to the top management. I've seen organizations where we have implemented a digital project, we have presented the data, analyzed it nicely, but at the end the top management takes decision based on its gut feeling or its past experience rather than on the basis of data. So by doing this, the entire purpose for which the digital project was implemented goes in waste. So this is very important, that top management also changes its style and it believes that decisions should be taken based on data rather than on the basis of gut feeling. Another important thing is that when we try to implement digital project, what I've seen is that immediately the management brings a team of consultant and they heavily rely on external consultant to implement the project. The success of any project is not going to be on external party, it is going to be on your internal team. So it's very important that the implementation is in the hands of, is the responsibility of the internal team. And when I say internal team, it is not just one department or one person, it should be involvement of all the departments, and you should have team members from each respective department. So cross-functional team is very important for a success of a project. And there are few digital projects which require that your data which is on server, it should be on cloud based, so that integration needs to be done. And also certain digital projects like e-commerce require that you should be doing a data scientist should be brought on board. So it's very important that people understand that a technical person can come into float pay, or we need to create a new position when you are trying to implement digital project. But everyone should be updated or be explained that why we are creating this position, so that people are aware that why this is happening. Right. Another key thing is that when you try to implement a digital project, there are certain projects where logs are involved, which we call algorithms. And again, those logs are going to define the criteria. So those criteria are given by humans. So we need to understand, we need to ensure that those criteria don't have the bias. Otherwise, the data which is been analyzed based on that criteria will give a wrong picture. And it is also important that when you do an analysis of the data through machine, human element is also involved. So there are certain analysis in which emotional aspect also needs to be taken into consideration, especially when you are trying to understand the evolving or changing needs of the customer. So at that point of time, there are certain analysis which machine may not be in a position to do. So it's important that this human element is also taken into consideration. Now, one of the key thing which I have standard query which has been always asked is that what is my ROI on digital project? And since finance is very number savvy and they always analyze any capex project based on ROI, we also land up in doing this mistake of calculating, okay, how many man hours I will save by implementing this digital project, and so what is the saving to the company vis-a-vis what is the cost of implementation. So here I would like to tell you, based on my experience, that when you try to implement a digital project, it may be required you to pursue or to achieve any strategic goal. So it may be due to competition you are implementing this project, to understand the needs of the customer. This is something which is one of the strategic need of any business. So there are many benefits which are in non-monetary terms, which is not possible to capture in numbers when you are trying to implement a digital project. So when someone tries to justify a digital cost or capex cost for digital project just by in terms of saving of man hours, then I think that's a big mistake. There are a lot of benefits that flow in which cannot be expressed in numbers, like your system becomes robust, your processes become standardized, and you inbuild best practices when you are implementing digital projects. So these are some of the benefits which cannot be measured in numbers. So when you are presenting the capex project on digital front to the top management, then you need to make them understand what are the non financial aspects which need to be taken into consideration whether we should go for this project or not, especially in this crisis where management's top priority is cash flow, top priority is to reduce the cost. So it may ask to defer a digital project just because the cash flow doesn't permit. But according to me, the real criteria of this should be whether it is helping you to achieve your strategic goal, which has a much bigger impact, much bigger significance. So that should be the goal that should be taken into consideration. So involvement of senior management, involvement of the team members, education of the people is very important when you are implementing digital project. And if you are implementing any project which is relating to customer, then input of the customer is very important, or feedback of the customer is very important. Otherwise, that digital project may fail. Right. So these are some of the key things which you need to keep in mind when you are implementing a digital project in your company. And in order to implement digital project, you need to form a team which should, of course, which should include members from different departments, including people who are at the ground level, because when you are trying to configure or when you are trying to develop something digitally, then inputs of all these members are very important. And plan versus actual should be updated to the top management, that against the plan project timing, where do we stand, why the project has been delayed, and what we can do to ensure to bring it on time. That continuous monitoring is required. Lot of soft skills come into foreplay when you implement digital project, in terms of emotional intelligence, understanding each other's point of view, avoiding the conflict, difference of opinion to come at one single line. And also, one of the key things which we need to decide when you implement digital project is customization versus standardization. So many things can be done. If it is unique for your business, it can be customized, but there is an additional cost for it. So to what extent you need to customize, that call management needs to take. Maybe because of that customization, your people don't have to change their working style, but it will cost you additionally. So whether that kind of compromise on the cost management is ready to do. So that kind of calls one really needs to take into consideration uh, while implementing this kind of project. Okay, so now quickly I'll move, due to time constraint of time, I'll move quickly to on the other slides because I finished the main key slide. So these are the various digital tools which I'll give you a brief understanding on this. Of course, there are a lot of forums and a lot of data available on internet to understand more about this digital tool. But what you need to understand is that which of this digital tool is relevant for your nature of business, your nature of industry, and go in depth to understand more about this product, this tool, and then understand what is the capex cost of implementing it, what is the time period which will be required, and then it should be a process not only to persuade the top management, but even the middle management and people down the line that why we need to implement this particular project in our company, right? So to start with, I'd like to start with AI, which I believe is one of the most important digital tool, artificial intelligence. It is a wide-ranging branch of computer science concerned with building smart machines capable of performing the task that typically requires human intelligence. So to cut it short, what AI does basically, it does three things. One is it is instrumental in making a process robust. Second is the tasks which are in repetitive nature, which are done by humans, can be done by AI. And lastly, it can do amazing analysis. We already discussed the prescriptive, predictive, and descriptive analysis. So this can be done in a very nice way by artificial intelligence. So it is a very good tool, not only just to analyze the data, but also to interpret and based on then suggest the action plan to the top management. So that's a great value you can see. So here I would like to give you practical example of the industries which are already using AI in a big way. So one is the industry where a lot of data analysis is done, like retail, banking, financial services, FMCG, which are mainly using it to do data analysis. Then certain industries are using it to where the labor cost is high in developed economies to do the repetitive tasks. So like construction industry is using it to replace labor, manufacturing is doing it, supply chain, it is used to move the goods from one place to another. And even in our finance function, I have seen demos of AI doing tasks like bank reconciliation, consolidation of the financials, checking the mails and forwarding certain mails, forwarding certain standard reports. So these are repetitive tasks which can be done by AI. So obviously, when these tasks are done by AI, then the team or the members who are doing that, they need to upgrade their skills and do something better by which more value can be added to the organization, right? Now coming to the next. Yeah, sorry. So here there are certain terminologies which I would just like to clarify. I don't think you should go much into the terminology. It's more important to understand the concept strategically, like what is chatbots. So chatbots are basically a tool to do repetitive tasks. Like I gave a live example of the bank reconciliation statement. Then another famous terminology is what is RPA, robotic process automation. So it is again a part of AI which is being used to do process automation, which is driven by rules. So once you configure it, certain tasks are automated and the process works in a very robust way. Then another thing is machine learning, which is a subset of AI, and it consists of the techniques that enables computers to figure things out of data. So whatever data analysis we are doing, logarithms are there. So these are done through this machine learning. Deep learning is again a subset of machine learning. Then there is another terminology, what is IoT, and a lot of discussions and talks are there on this. IoT is Internet of Things. It is a system of interrelated computer devices, mechanical and digital machines provided with unique IDs and ability to transfer the data over a network. So it's basically when you have sensors and they interact among themselves in order to perform certain tasks. So there may be a sensor at your home or at your car, in your gadgets like washing machine, refrigerators, doors. So once the car comes down near your building, the sensor is activated and it tells to another sensor to open the door, to put the lights on. So these are just an example of how this technology can be used to perform certain tasks, to give certain indications. Then next is AR. AR is augmented reality. We'll see a video on this, that how in retail industry this is used extensively. It's so the main crux of AR is that it is a technology that superimposes digital data and images on physical world to close the gap between real and digital world. Now, one needs to understand the concept here. What is the concept is that we have a lot of digital data, we have a lot of access to digital data, but we fail to implement it to physical business situations. And that's where the gap is created, where you're not in a position to tape or realize the benefit of digital transformation. So AR is such technology which does both the tasks, capturing the data digitally and then implementing it on physical situations both simultaneously. So it's a real value addition which can be done, particularly in retail industry. It is being used extensively, and although it's a new thing, I believe that there are a lot of industries where this is going to be implemented. So education is one of the other industry where this is going to get implemented. That so far you have seen in e-learning, we have got standardized videos of the professors or teacher, but the AR proposes to have a technology where a virtual assistant will be interacting with the students while it is delivering its session. So it's a new technology which is going to get evolved, and more benefits are going to flow out of this. Then next is blockchain. It's a highly capital intensive technology. So it's used mainly by governments and large organizations, but I believe that it's good to understand the concept, and there are going to be a future where one will be a part of blockchain. So what is blockchain is it's an open distributed ledger that can record transactions between two parties efficiently and in a verifiable and permanent way. The ledger itself can also be programmed to trigger transactions automatically. So any digital transaction you can capture through blockchain. It is very transparent, open, and once the transaction is done, it cannot be changed. And any of the users can have access to this transaction. They can see it. And the most important value addition blockchain does is that it enables to overcome the intermediaries like banks or brokers or lawyers, and directly the individuals can interact with them among themselves to do this transaction. So it's another platform which has been created in order to perform certain transactions. It is a capital intensive, so right now it is been done or played only by big players, but many governments are going ahead with it. UAE government is one of it, and so it's important to understand this concept. Last but not the least, data visualization tools. I believe most of us must be already using this in the form of Power BI, then waterfall graph, then pie chart. So major advantage of this particular tool is to make a comparative, when you want to give a comparative analysis to the top management, or when you want to present the information in diagram or graphical form, which management is more conducive to use rather than numbers. When management is not very number savvy, then this kind of tools can really help you to directly pick the data from the ERP system where it is integrated and give a broad picture to the management. And then if you have tool like Power BI, you can drill down the information further if the management wants to know the real reason or cause for it. So it is a tool which gives you high level information, and then you can also drill down further. That's the advantage of this particular tool. So we are running short of time, but I would like to play this video which really explains the concept of AR in a very nice way.
Retail shopping will change more in the next 10 years than it has in the last 1,000 years. Everything will change.
Hello, Mr. Yakamoto. Welcome back to the gas.
Stores will behave more like websites, and websites more like stores. The fundamentals of what a store is, its purpose and function, is already changing. These are the 5 biggest technologies that will affect your shopping experience. Increasingly, retailers are using beacons to enhance in-store experiences while simultaneously bridging your physical and online experiences. Beacons are small, wireless devices that transmit a continuous radio signal. The signal ID is detected by smartphones that send the ID to a cloud server. The server can then push targeted content to the device. Bluetooth Low Energy, BLE, is the technology behind beacons, and it provides device location on a very micro level, down to a single store aisle, for instance. This means that if you have opted in, retailers will be able to gather data not only on your movements, but also be able to push content to your device. Say you're walking past your favorite department store and they're having a sale. With a beacon nearby, your phone could alert you to the sale. From a retailer's perspective, the data collection aspect of beacons is arguably more important than sales. They will be able to use the information to better segment customers and advertise accordingly. Stores like Macy's and Bunnings have already deployed beacons. Retailers are no longer content to identify us via a swipe of a loyalty card at the point of sale. They want to identify us as soon as we enter the store. The iPhone X has helped to normalize facial recognition, and using this technology, retailers aim to provide a customized experience. The technology, which uses over 16,000 reference points on your face, was originally designed to support security at events at international airports. By using facial recognition systems, retail staff will know what type of products you buy and what your average spend is, so they can give more love to higher spenders. They'll be able to use software that reads emotion to identify when you are frustrated and notify staff to respond. Of course, the staff that do respond may not be your typical human employees. Meet your new robot shopping assistant.
Hello, I am Oshbot. What are you looking for today?
Robot assistant technology already exists and can greet you in multiple languages. They have built-in 3D scanners with image recognition software to identify items and navigate the store to guide you to the product. If you have an out-of-the-box question that is beyond the robot, it can start a video conference with a human. The robots are not limited to customer interaction and will also move into supply chain with robots that check stock, find pricing errors, and items that have been misplaced. These robots are intelligent enough to navigate existing stores and move around customers. The data these robots gather is compiled and analysed to provide improvement recommendations. Traditional mirrors are out and smart displays are in. Using artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and gesture recognition technology, the mirrors can superimpose clothing over your on-screen image. In effect, the mirror becomes a virtual changing room where you can create complete outfits without ever getting undressed. This technology allows you to see all items, even items that are not in stock, and try on dozens of different combinations. To see what the same item would look like in a different color, just swipe your hand. You can even share your virtual picture on social media, so your friends can give you advice before you buy that new jacket. Oak Labs has a similar product for fitting rooms. When you walk into a fitting room, the mirror comes alive with all the items you have using RFID. You can request other sizes, cuts, and colors with the display, and an alert is sent to sales staff to deliver the product to you. Using big data, the sales staff can also bring in additional products that other customers typically buy with those items. Essentially, it brings the ease of online shopping into the tangible world of retail. Retail stores can use this technology not just to measure average time in the fitting room, but also which items have the highest conversion rate. After robot support and interactive displays comes the payment process. Self-service checkouts have existed for over a decade. Paying with your phone or watch is newer, but we will see the rise and fall of this technology. The future of payments is you walking out of the store with your items automatically being scanned and the total being charged to your account. Amazon already has shops that identify you as you enter and automatically charge you as you leave. No need to scan any items. Payment in the future will have no queues, no checkouts, and no hassles. Hi everybody, Alex here.
Okay, so I think this is very self-explanatory. You can see that how technology is used to facilitate customer in each and every task, right from the customer entering the showroom till it's going out, how technology is used to facilitate them in a better way, to generate the data, to understand their needs, and thereby have an edge in the market. So this is the level to which the technology has already reached. Now, how we can use this to our businesses and to our advantage, that is what really needs to look into. So this is what your journey is going to look like when you try to implement any digital project in your company and try to bring the transformation within finance department and across the organization. So the state one is going to be where, what is your current state? Like Umran and Hardik Desai mentioned, what are the various challenges their businesses are facing and where does the current business is. And what is the requirement? That is the second stage. Where do we want to go? And then identify the gap. So first one is got to be analysis. I'm sure you must be aware of all these terminologies. First one is as is analysis. Second is to be analysis. Third is that you try to figure out what is the gap, and then you make to be analysis. So second stage is where you lay down your requirement, understand what is the gap, and then you frame the to be analysis, and then you take the confidence of the top management that we need, how we need to do this, understand the digital, what are the various digital products available, which one is good, what in terms of time, cost, effectiveness, and then implement it in your organization. This we all already I discussed, but I would again like to repeat that when you try to implement any digital project, or when you try to bring any kind of change, whether it is in your finance department or by implementing digital project across the organization, these are the 4 areas that mainly need to look into. People, we already discussed a lot about it. Processes, which need to be standardized and be consistent, otherwise you cannot implement any digital project. Selecting the right technology, and what is the impact that any technology which I adopt or implement is on the reporting aspect, on the data aspect. It should be in a position to generate data which I can analyze and give insight, valuable insight to the top management, right? So if you are in a position to successfully bring transformation in your department through digital transformation and implement it in a right way, then this is the new department of finance which will look like, as compared to the previous department which was shown by Hardik Desai. So right from being a finance or CFO person who is leading the finance, you can become a strategic CFO who is more into crafting strategy, who has got access to the data and who can use the data to the advantage of giving insight to the management that what decision they need to take now, what action we need to take now in order to overcome certain challenges which is there in business, and especially in crisis or in days of uncertainty, we require reporting or data on a daily basis, on a real-time basis, and that's where the strategic CFO will be in a position to deliver or to satisfy the requirement of the management on a real-time basis. Your second in command, finance controller, will be doing the job of a finance business partner rather than getting involved into day-to-day functions of how I can manage the cash flow effectively or managing the finance. So those aspects will be taken care by software partially, and finance will controller will have a better time to act as a business partner. And one more thing is that there has to be a new person in this transformation, which is the data scientist, which I just discussed. It can be under finance or it can be under IT department. What is important is to understand the significance of this particular role, which needs to be taken into consideration. So this brings a complete transformation in your department, and you can do a big value addition by doing this. So this is all from my side, that how you can bring change in the organization, right? Zeeshan, you can now give the control to Hardik. We will take up the questions at the end of the session.
Okay, thank you very much, Ashi, for presenting such a detailed and practical and live examples of digital transformation. And I think this was our objective also, to hold this webinar, to give a very big picture view of the entire digital transformation, like not only from within your finance function, but also how you can support and lead the digital transformation projects in your entire organization. Because being a finance professional, you have a insight on every business unit. You can take a holistic view of the entire organization and support them in implementing this digital transformation projects. So now we have a last session. I think it's already we are over time, but we will try to wrap up very quickly, and we'll try to take some questions if time allows. So Hardik, Soni, are you with us?
Hi, good evening. Yes, I'm with everyone.
Okay, so just I will give you the controls so you can present your screen. Just give me a second. Okay.
Okay, so hold on a second. This is how is good. So, hello.
Yeah, yeah, we can hear you.
So, where is the original presentation?
Yeah, with Ashit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ashok.
you can give it to Ashiji, no problem. If you can,
Okay.
he can also share his screen and he can scroll down and quickly take.
Okay, so Jishan, you can make me the presenter again.
Okay. Here you go. Okay, you are the president.
Okay, so yeah, so everyone can see the screen, right?
Yes, it can be seen.
I can see it. Yes. Okay, so good evening, everyone. My name is Hardik Suni. I'm also a chartered accountant, and I have around 10 years of experience, and most of that it is in FMCG and retail segment. And I have personally experienced the implementation of e-commerce business in my previous organization. So, what in continuation with what Ashiji just spoke about, one of the fourth or fifth angle to any digital strategy of your company should be e-commerce. Now, we all know that there are in Middle East there are a lot of small businesses that are doing very well, but they are on the offline. It might be on a mom and pop, or maybe on a brick and mortar. So the idea is that how they can also go to the e-commerce, and how as a we as a finance people become the not only finance business partner, also we run that particular e-commerce as a operational side. So before we go into the detail, I would like to first quickly go to the you can go to the next slide, please. On the various types of e-commerce. One is the B2C. We all know that business to consumer is one of the key dimension of the e-commerce business, where actually people think an e-com whenever we think as e-commerce, we always think that company to the consumer. So there are a lot of examples we have. The next is the B2B. There are a lot of companies which has now come up with a B2B segment. Initially it was started by Walmart, and then it became successful through Alibaba also. So that are those are the platforms where you actually both the businesses comes together. You buy and you do the transaction. The other one is C2C, consumer to consumer. So in UAE we have Dubizzle, where consumer to consumer we can sell our product, which is also becoming a famous. Next, please. The fourth one is the B2G, which is business to government, and they also known as B2A, which is business to administration. And fourth and very important is M-commerce. Now, what has actually happened is that online transaction, if you look at it, it has increased. It was in 2016, it was 15% a mobile transaction. Now they are expected to reach to 73% out of total e-commerce transaction by 2021. So we can understand the significance of the m-commerce. Now, to understand the e-commerce, we also needs to understand the what are the ecosystem, what is exactly the ecosystem of e-commerce business. So can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So if you look at it for any company, how the ecosystem works. So either you can use your own platform, or either you can use the existing e-commerce platform. When for running any show, we need a website. So for that, consumer is going to go, and that website will have a backup from the e-commerce platform, which will give you the basically all type of support. Now currently it is cloud-based platforms. There are a couple of platforms are available right now. The other important part is the payment gateway, how you are going to receive the payment, either through the e-commerce platform or maybe a PayPal. uh, it's very important from the finance angle also, when while we do the contracting with the e-commerce platform, that number of days in which we are going to receive money. The third angle is the marketing angle. So all these things are the front angle, where we see the consumer is going to receive a lot of marketing deals, how they are going to pay. So all this is at the consumer angle. But back end, if you want to look at it, the back end is this shipping software. Now there are a couple of models if you want to talk about that, how the e-commerce in the back end works. For example, drop shipping. So what happened in the drop shipping is that the e-commerce platform will only give you a platform. So consumer go there, buy the product, and that message will come to us as a company, and we deliver that product. So most of the companies in UA like Zomato, who does that, now they have started their own delivery system. But if we just e-commerce, if we want to just simplify, uh, Amazon, when it's soup for example, when it was there, so what used to happen is they used to take the order, and then it used to be delivered by the consumer, which has over a period of time it has changed. uh, Another is the wholesaling and warehousing, where as an e-commerce platform, they would like to e-commerce company, they would like to invest in the warehousing, and they would like to store everything. Third is a private labeling and manufacturing. A lot of new private label companies, because of the e-commerce business, have emerged. So rather than just focusing on the branded product, they are also coming up with their own product with the same content, and they have started selling on the e-commerce platform. So if we just want to understand how the tomorrow's e-commerce is going to look like, so I have a small video, and it is not going to take much time, but it is interesting to see the how the next age of e-commerce as well as retail. So what has happened exactly is, we cannot just move away to a to a model where we 100% go on e-commerce. There are omni channels also which are going to continue. There are retail shops which are going to continue. So how, as a company, we transform our retail and e-commerce? So Alibaba has recently changed a lot of mom and pop concepts, as well as the retail. So a very quick and small video we'll just play. Ashiki, if you can play.
Shopping usually involves one of two options: go to the store or buy it online. These days, more and more people are opting for the box on their doorstep, which is putting a squeeze on traditional brick and mortar retail. But when online shopping can't quite deliver, you need to go to the store. The experience can be frustrating and disappointing. Online or offline, these cannot be the only options. Well, in China, a new form of retail is taking shape that's combining the best of both online and offline retail. Alibaba, the company best known for its online marketplace, is leading the way. For them, the future isn't total domination of e-commerce. Rather, it's the complete digitization of all commerce that could be the key to saving traditional retail. The company simply refers to this as new retail. It's already helping even the most traditional retail models adapt to a new digital world in unexpected, creative ways. Why not start with the supermarket? Let's face it, no one really enjoys the process of grocery shopping. But ordering online isn't perfect either. Some things you want to pick yourself, and life can't always accommodate a delivery window. Enter Huma, Alibaba's designed from scratch grocery store for modern times, customized the way consumers want to shop for food. The shopping experience is powered by your mobile phone. Scan and find out what you're buying. You can buy groceries or eat in with the freshest seafood that's instantly prepared for you. And best of all, you can have your groceries and cooked seafood all delivered to you in as quickly as 30 minutes if you're lucky enough to live within a 3-kilometer radius of Hema. That's because every Hema store doubles as a distribution center. The model is so popular in China that people are actually moving to live near Hema locations. Another traditional sales model that's getting an Alibaba new retail upgrade, buying cars, big showrooms and lots. That process was designed decades ago. It forces you to spend a lot of time going here and there, one dealer to another. Well, Alibaba is working to redesign the experience, bringing many brands of cars to the consumers to try, without the sales pressure. Behold the auto vending machine. The so-called vending machine model allows consumers to browse models on their smartphones and select the ones they want to test drive, in and out. Experience the car first, then talk to the salesperson. Even the local mom-and-pop convenience stores can get a new retail makeover. These stores, which are the lifeblood of many communities, probably haven't changed much since the mid-'80s and aren't as convenient as they need to be for today's shoppers. Meet the Huangs, the proud owners of this convenience store in Hangzhou, China. Their store used to look like this. Now it looks like this. But the real transformation is the store has gone digital. Alibaba created a special mobile app which provides the Huangs consumer analytics of their store. They can then use the app to order the items most likely to sell directly from one source and avoid having to deal with multiple distributors. This means the shop in your neighborhood is more likely to have what you are looking for. For the ultimate new retail test, let's head to the mall. Yes, the one that everyone predicts is dying. Alibaba is up for this challenge too, and has even been investing in some of China's biggest shopping malls. And why a pair of jeans? But it's not the right fit, and your size isn't in stock. No problem. This store is fitted out with a virtual shelf. Just select the one you want. Scan with your Tmall app and have it delivered to your home. No need to stand in line at the checkout. Even a pit stop to the ladies' room can be a new retail experience. While you wait, check yourself out in the magic mirror and experiment with new makeup colors virtually. Like what you see? Buy it from vending machines and freshen up your look. From ladies' room to makeup lounge. The possibilities for new retail are endless once you erase the lines between online and offline and reimagine it based on the way consumers actually want to shop. The key to saving traditional retail is to forget about tradition altogether.
Yeah, so this is what all about e-commerce. So e-commerce is nothing basically but to give something new to the consumer and to understand what exactly consumer need. So let us see if we are as a finance people, if we are been told to take over the e-commerce business, what exactly what should be the role of the finance person. So first is the understanding the budgeting and forecasting. Now we this is not the traditional business. This is going to be e-commerce business. So for us, it is very much important to know what sort of uh, type of spends you are going to do. It will be more marketing, what type of technology we are going to invest, what type of people we are going to invest, because there will be more data scientists, there will be more marketing, there will be completely different type of advertisement it will there, what type of equipment and technology that we are going to invest in, how our supply chain is going to work. We will require more warehouse, or we will require to build a smaller warehouse, how the office supplies, everything will be required. So this is very important as a finance business partner or finance person we need to do, I think. So
I think that is gone blank.
Zishan,
Yes.
yeah, your screen has gone blank. Can you just
No,
Yeah, Ashit is the present. Ashit, you
yeah,
can just reshare it. Just stop resharing and again reshare it. Maybe some technical fault.
yeah,
Yeah.
apologies for the disruption. The another aspect is the data reporting and analysis. So it is very important for us as a finance business partner to know that what sort of role we are playing. It is not about just the normal analysis. It requires customer analysis, product sales analysis, everything. So it's just not the traditional analysis that we used to do it. Financial risk assessment, we need to assess our financial risk, how we are going to allocate our working capital, because most of our in the e-commerce business our working capital is going to stuck with either the receivable part, or might be in the creating a capex, how we are going to develop our different channels. So that is very important. The As I mentioned, can you just press the next, please? Yeah. So to shift from the financial to operational role, a finance person needs to understand about how the entire e-commerce work, how the what are the type of the element in the e-commerce business that requires to be taken care. So assuming that as a finance person, when we are taking over the operational role, we should know that it's not going to be a human interaction where we are going to predict the sales. So how our sales prediction will happen, what type of technology we will be using, how AI is going to help us in in entire e-commerce. So a lot of learning that finance person might have to undergo. A lot of seminars or internal training is required through the new changes. I believe that being a finance people, we are ready with it. This technology is just that we need to give some time to understand and learn it, and we can take it over. Believe me, we can take it over from the not only a finance role. We can take up the challenge of becoming the business, not only a business partner, but take up the operational role in the e-commerce business. So yeah, that is a small presentation from my side. I think thank you very much, and yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Hardik, for your insights on from the e-commerce and retail industry point of view. So I think we are already over time, so I don't think so. We are in a position to take any questions. But if you have any questions, please feel free to join us on LinkedIn, and you can post your question there. All of us, our members, are available there, and we would love to just address all of your questions. So thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Hardik Desai, Hardik Soni, Ashit, for all your great work. And we hope that we will have another session soon as well. And thank you all the audience. And tomorrow we will be having our last session. that will also be on the emerging technology. There will be RPA, robotic process automation, going to be presented by Brian Kalish. He will be joining us from Washington, D.C., USA. So tomorrow will be our last session, and we will close our summit, inshallah. Okay, thank you, everyone. Good night, and stay safe. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you. Good night.
Thanks to all.